Bows and arrows have been used throughout history, and remnants of early bows have been found on just about every continent by every culture. The earliest known arrows have been dated back approximately 60,000 years ago in South Africa. The earliest known bow fragments have been dated back to 8000 BC in northern Germany.
The basic theories behind the modern bow and arrows is essentially the same from traditional archery as well. The ultimate goal is to fire a projectile downrange towards an intended target. Traditional style bow is really only two main parts. You have the bow itself and the string, the stick and a string. Modern bow, on the other hand, has many components to it.
Much has changed, but the basic principles are still the same. The bow acts as a type of spring. That spring stores and releases energy. That energy is released through the string and acted out by the propulsion of the arrow.
There's a lot of science and math. Physics is the main driving science behind the design of a bow and arrow, and the math associated with that physics. There's geometry, algebra, calculus that's used in the design process.
By utilizing the laws of physics and some of the other math we were talking about, we're able to increase the efficiency of the bow, and that's the ultimate goal. Efficiency is everything. Obviously, the main largest component of the bow would be the riser section where it's gripped and the archer would hold on to it to use it. And then the limbs themselves are another key part, almost the heart of the bow.
A limb pocket which attaches the limbs to the riser of the bow. We have an idler wheel and a cam and a stringing cable.
That's not to say, however, that there haven't been major improvements to bow and arrow technology.
There's a few main materials that are used quite a bit. Aluminum is the biggest material. There is some carbon used in risers today. A few manufacturers are using carbon technology. There's a lot of glass, fiberglass used in limb technology. Some high-grade plastics are used for some smaller components of the bow. There's fibers, some high-grade fibers used to construct the string and cables.
Like anything, skill plays a large role in the bow and arrow industry, and there is a true art to the mastery of the bow.
A typical bow hunter is somebody that has a lot of passion, that is driven for the conservation of wildlife, that enjoys the thrill of the hunt. The bow hunter can be anybody. It can be a postman, it can be the mailman, it could be the policeman, the fireman, the guy that prepares your taxes, the attorney that you got to go see, the guy that bags your groceries, or the girl that bags your groceries. There is no set description of a bow hunter other than the common passion that everybody shares for not only the hunt but for the conservation of wildlife. The difference between the firearm hunter and the bow hunter, I mean, we share a lot of things. Everybody still contributes to the conservation of wildlife, the participation in the outdoors. Bow hunting is more, I'll say, from a challenging perspective. It requires you to get closer to your quarry. It's more at one with Mother Nature. You've got to be smarter than the animal that you're hunting.
As with most technology, the art of the bow and arrow is learned through time and experience. You can't have a perfect bow without it being built on legacy.
Fred's done a lot for the conservation of wildlife. He's done a lot for management of wildlife. Fred was instrumental in the FET, for instance, part of the Pittman-Robertson Act, which diverts a percentage of sales of our sporting goods equipment back to the restoration of wildlife, to conserve wildlife, to increase participation in our sport.
He was a guy that wanted to be in an environment. He wanted to be around nature and the wildlife and was into conserving that nature and that wildlife. His sole purpose in life was to share archery, to spread the word of archery to hundreds and thousands of people.